Menopausal and perimenopausal women, listen up. It's time to take control of your health and comfort, and Winona is here to help. Winona is a telemedicine company for menopause care who believes that your symptoms are real, important, and deserve to be taken seriously. And for many women, this starts with hormone replacement therapy. Winona's HRT is made with plant-based, bioidentical hormones rather than synthetic ones, so it better aligns with your body to offer relief from hot flashes, weight gain, and other uncomfortable symptoms. 80% of women who use Winona find relief within just 90 days. So, what are you waiting for? Get started today. Visit buywinona.com today to start your free visit. With free shipping and the ability to pause or cancel at any time, your path to wellness has zero obligations. Use code SPRING24 at buywinona.com for 25% off your first treatment plan. That's BYWINONA.com for 25% off. Winona. Menopause care made easy. Summer is the season of hot temperatures, outdoor adventures, and refreshing water activities. Summer is also the season of rough on your feet, causing dry, cracked heels and toes. Introducing Babyfoot, the original exfoliation foot peel that contains 16 natural extracts formulated to remove dead skin cells in 3 easy steps. Apply the booties, relax for an hour, then wash your feet. In 14 days, you've got baby smooth skin and your feet have never been softer. Letting dead skin cells build up over time is hazardous to your foot health. Our professional-grade DIY products, like our original exfoliation foot peel, our men's foot peel, or our moisturizing mask, are some of the best foot care products on the market, created with your foot health in mind. Pamper yourself with a spa day from the comfort and convenience of your own home with Babyfoot. If you want a chemical-free, easy-to-use exfoliating process from the company that created the original foot peel, it's time to treat yourself to Babyfoot. Go to babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24 and get 20% off your first order with Babyfoot. That's babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24.
Hello, and welcome to Hot as Hell with TSTL. Special episodes of Too Stupid to Live, where I, host Becky Feldman, have a chat with some residents of the beautiful world known as Romancelandia. And today, my guest is Vanessa Zoltan, who a lot of you know as the co-host of the podcast, Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. Vanessa recently launched a new romance novel podcast called Hot and Bothered, which is all about seeing romance novels as a sacred text and writing romance as a sacred practice. And I have to say that Hot and Bothered is also a sacred listen. I had this really emotional day last week. I had to take this really long day trip driving down to San Diego, and I listened to all of the episodes during the ride, and I was just like in tears the whole time. You really just take this wonderful journey. So even if you don't read romance, I highly recommend this show. It feels like it's like This American Life meets, discussions about books that have like throbbing manhoods and pebbled nipples and, all of your favorite phrases. So yeah, listen to it. Guys, I know it is the middle of summer. I'm sure you're probably sweltering as it is, but it's about to get sizzling. So please enjoy Vanessa Zoltan of Hot and Bothered getting hot as hell with TSTL. Vanessa, welcome to Too Stupid to Live.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited you're here. I binged your show all this week, and I love it so much.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun to make.
Oh, I'm sure. And it's just like every time I listen to it, I just like go on this emotional roller coaster, and I wasn't expecting it, and it was just so fulfilling for me.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm sorry, and I'm so glad.
No, it's good. I need it. Because I think that I feel like I just listening to you and how you got into romance, like I related to you a lot just turning to romance, when you're, having a difficult time and finding solace in it. And I don't know, can you talk about that some more?
Yeah. So I was like, I was never adverse to romance, right? Like my favorite books were Jane Eyre and Pride and Prejudice, and I loved every rom-com, and was really sad that rom-coms weren't being made anymore for a while there. And and like the first books that I like couldn't put down were like Judy Blume's Forever, right? I always loved that, but I was a snob and just thought that I was above romance novels. I was like, that is what dumb people read, is really what I thought. And I was an English major and I like took literature seriously. And then really what happened, like the only good thing to come out of Trump's election, but Donald Trump got elected and I was just in complete despair. And I couldn't get myself to read because I was too distracted to read. And so I was like, I'll read this dumb thing. A friend of mine had sent me The Duke and I by Julia Quinn years prior to my Kindle, and it had just been sitting on my Kindle. And I was like, I'll give this really dumb book a try. And it was so good. And I was like, wait a minute. And went down. I read all 27 of Julia Quinn's books, and there are now 28, but at the time there were 27. Mm-hmm. I read all 27 of them in 2 months. It's all I did was read Julia Quinn. And for a while I kept telling myself, like, I'm going to stop after the Bridgerton series, after, the Quartet series, and I just couldn't stop. And it was just like such a profound experience. And here I am, however many years into the Trump presidency, and I'm reading at least a romance a week. And I just think that they are this incredible feminist space. And I think that a lot of women are missing out on them. And I just think so many other women were smarter before me. And I'm excited to be honoring them in some way or lifting up their voices, because romance novels are actually this really radical feminist space where the women's perspective, women's pleasure, women's point of view, women's concerns are the entire point of the books. Mm-hmm. And that is radical and special. And they're also joyful and fun. And I'm trained as a chaplain, so the fact that romance novels have a guaranteed happily ever after is like a deeply interesting and theological point of view. So yeah, there's no looking back.
For sure, yeah. So you mentioned that you're a chaplain, and from what I understand, you refer to yourself as a humanist chaplain. Is that correct?
Yeah, I call myself an atheist chaplain for the most part, but yeah.
Can you speak to that? And I would just love to know your background in regards to that and how you got to this place in your life.
So would my parents. So would I. Okay, I'm gonna try. So I am child of immigrants, grandchild of Holocaust survivors. So pretty bleak outlook on the world. I was raised Jewish in Los Angeles, but I was raised an atheist Jew, which in Judaism is not at all a contradiction. And yeah, I went to work in education. I went to college to work in education. I worked as a teacher for a number of years, an English teacher. And then I worked in education nonprofits, and really what happened to me was that I realized that we actually know exactly how to fix education. You just have to pay teachers well and train them to be good teachers. Teachers are the thing that matters most, and obviously reconfigure the way that we tax and pay into schools. We know exactly how to fix education in this country. We just don't believe poor and Black and brown children deserve to learn. And so working in an education nonprofit where we weren't trying, we can't fix those two things, or no one has the will to do it. And I was just like, well, that's because of institutionalized racism. And so I wanted to go, as a grandchild of victims of, institutionalized prejudice, I wanted to go and address that I wanted to go somewhere where we were talking about the central things that weren't being discussed. And sort of the original sin of slavery brought me to wanting to go to divinity school, because I thought talking about race is a spiritual, soul-breaking problem. And at divinity school, I as an atheist, it should have been obvious to me that this would happen, but I like really couldn't figure out how to pray or how to do any of the things that were like meaningful in divinity school. And so I asked a teacher to teach me how to pray. And because I loved romantic things, I was like, can you teach me something easy, something I already love, like Jane Eyre, the greatest romance novel of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And so she did. And we spent 2 years on that. And then I moved on to treating Harry Potter as a sacred text, which is now my day job, which is a great day job. And so, yeah, I really believe in using things. I think that the whole point of treating anything as sacred is to learn to treat your neighbor as sacred, so that you want to spend money educating children who don't look like you. So you take in your neighbors when, an aggressor knocks on their doors. We want to be radically there for one another. And so you treat a text as sacred in order to treat one another as sacred. And I just think that's so hard. It's such a big ask to, I barely like chatting with my neighbors, let alone being like ready to take them in, right?
Sure.
And so I think we should make the practice of it fun and easy. And what's more fun or easier than Harry Potter and romance novels?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like a multi-step process to get me to justify my livelihood. But it seems to be working.
Sure. Listen, I'm a writer, actor, and podcaster in Los Angeles. I have to do it all the time, so I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm so worried this is going to sound like a stupid question. But when you say sacred text, do people ask you this? Like, what does, like, I know what sacred and text mean, but like, what does sacred text mean to you?
Yeah. Well, so to me is like really different than traditionally, right? Because traditionally a text is sacred if a community declares that it's sacred.
Mm-hmm.
So the Quran, right? Like 1 billion Muslims around the world declare that the Quran is sacred, and so it is sacred. And, whatever it is now, 11 million Jews say the Torah is sacred, so it's sacred. And then different sections of Christianity say different books are sacred. But, so we believe that a text is sacred if a community says it's sacred. And then the other condition that we put upon it is that you have to treat it as if it is sacred. And so the other two things are that you treat the text with faith. And by faith, we mean that the more time you spend with it, the more time you spend thinking about it, the more gifts it will give you. And with rigor. So you are in constant conversation with the texts. Bringing questions to the text. And, so if we're going to treat a romance novel as sacred, and I do believe that there's a community of tens of millions of women who treat these texts as sacred, who are in rigorous relationships with them by like reading romance novels every day, by when in despair going to them, while in joy going to them. We ritualize our relationship with romance novels. We read them every time we get into the bathtub. I listen to them while walking my dog. Like there are ways that we've ritually engaged with them. And then we go to them for hope, for self-care, for self-soothing. And so I think that our relationship with them absolutely mimics traditionally, religious relationships with texts. And, I mean, I don't want to get too much into like historical critical theory of religion, but like basically the only difference between treating a romance novel as sacred, and I am not saying that I believe that they are divinely inspired or that God is speaking to me through the text, but it's just that a group of men at one point got together and agreed that those other texts are sacred, right? Like the Bible was redacted by a group of men, depending on which theory you want to take, either in the 3rd or 5th century. And then it was further redacted by Henry VIII and his ecclesiastical commission. And so like these are completely, even if they are divinely inspired, the products that we are engaging with are entirely redacted and canonized by man. And so I don't think that it's like overly presumptuous of me to be like, well, I'm canonizing romance novels and Harry Potter. And the rule that St. Augustine gave us I believe in the 5th century, is if it's getting you better at loving God and if it's getting you better at loving your fellow man, then it is like a good form of prayer. And I think reading romance novels is getting me better at loving my fellow man. So,
oh my God, you are so right. I'm so inspired right now. I can't tell you.
it's a form of madness what I have, but
no, I feel
it
like
works for me.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like you're echoing what so many people get out of romance, even if they're not saying, like, even though if they're not like defining, like, oh yeah, I'm actively using romance to love my, to love my neighbor, to love myself, to love, to better love the people in my life. They're doing it anyway. They just don't like acknowledge it. You know what I mean? Not acknowledge, but.
That was, I've been doing the Harry Potter is Sacred thing for almost 4 years now. And I think that the compliment that we get most frequently is, thank you so much for giving words to something that I was already doing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's the same thing now in romance, right? We're starting, our podcast is only 6 weeks old in the world. We've been working on it for 2 years, but, and we're starting to get these letters from people, but we're not inventing anything. We're just proudly saying a phenomenon that we've already seen, right? Mm-hmm. And people talk about it in male terms all the time, right? The church of baseball, or, right, like football is America's church. And in these male places, we feel very comfortable with that language. And in these female-dominated spaces like fandom, we feel less comfortable with it. And I want to be part of changing that.
Yeah. Something that I've been struggling with lately is like when to like pick my battles when defending romance. Like sometimes when I hear a critique, I'm like, oh God, is it even worth it? And then other times I'm like, oh, maybe I should I should explain. So like, what kind of advice do you have to people who maybe are like in that same situation?
Yeah, I would say that the quickest way and you've talked about this before, the quickest way to shut somebody up is to ask, have you actually read one? Mm-hmm. And then maybe say, have you read one besides Twilight or 50 Shades of Grey? Uh-huh. And 50 Shades of Grey was an early read for me. And so like, I think 50 Shades of Grey is also like a radical feminist space, but it's not well written. Mm-hmm. You can't compare it to, Alyssa Cole or Tessa Dare or Julia Quinn or any number of other authors. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it's just like, I'm always just, oh, that's interesting that you think that. Have you read anything? Mm-hmm. And that always seems worth it to me. But I'm also a very confrontational person. So I think, here's the thing. All marginalized groups, right? It is not your job to teach the world. So, like, teach the world when you have the energy to teach. Mm-hmm. But, like, and when it gives you energy to teach, but if it's going to deplete you, it's not your job. Yeah. Like, they're lost that they're not reading romance.
Right, for sure. Yeah, totally.
So, just like the chaplain in me is like, that's not your job. Uh-huh. They suck.
Yeah, it's nice to hear, like, a chaplain say that. So you have this wonderful podcast, and it's so creative, and I just want to know, like, how you came up with this idea.
Yes. What a great question. So Hot and Bothered started because I became obsessed with writing my own romance novel. Mm-hmm. And I became obsessed with that just as a tool of self-care. I loved getting into bed every night. And it really, like, we knew that Trump liked to grab women's pussies against their will, and we elected him anyway. And we knew that Brett Kavanaugh was a rapist, and we were like, let's put him on the highest court of the land. And, like, I was just like, oh, we don't give a shit about women, like, at all. And so I know good men. I love a lot of really good men. And so I think that, and I'm not going to stop reading the news. Like, that is not how I think some people have rightfully disengaged, but that is not how I want to do it. And so I needed to, like, self-soothe by telling myself positive stories about men, or positive stories about women being awesome despite men. And so I just started writing these little vignettes of romance novels for fun. And I found it to be a deeply engaging spiritual practice. And so we wanted to offer it to more people. And so Hot and Bothered is me interviewing 10 of my friends who have each been given an assignment of writing a romance novella. And they each pick a trope, friends to lovers, mistaken identities, updated fairy tale. And they like really struggle through this process of, even not even struggle, they really engage with the process of like what it means to be in this world, in this moment, living their lives and trying to imagine a happy ending. And yeah, I think some people found it more rewarding than others. But I think the other thing is that, and again, you've talked about this on your podcast a lot, but like the Romance Landia is just like such a generous, wonderful place of like women supporting each other, and authors are accessible on Twitter. You can just write to them. And there's always this really negative way of saying like, oh, anyone could write a romance novel. And I'm like, no. Don't you get it? It's awesome. Anyone can write a romance novel. And I just think that that's such a generous invitation of a genre to be like, you can do this at home. You will not hurt yourself. You can self-publish on Amazon. You can write, like, you can really literally do this at home. And that doesn't mean it's easy, but anybody can do it. It doesn't take special training. And I like that. I think that it's like, right, it's like fan fiction, but we're all in it together in, I think, a really special way.
Yeah. So in each episode, you assign, your friend to write a romance novel, and really they go on this very profound journey of not even just like writing the novel, but like looking in on themselves and how they feel about themselves and their romantic lives. And as a host of the podcast and assigning your friends these assignments, like, how does it feel for you to kind of watch your friends experience this?
Really awkward. It was a much harder project than I thought it would be. Season 2 of Hot and Bothered, if there is a season 2, will not be the same because I'm writing the episode right now where I interviewed my sister-in-law, who's one of my closest friends, and I did not like potentially messing with my sister-in-law, right? But I do think it was a really rewarding experience for her. It felt not great, but I also really believe in what we're doing. And I do believe that offering people this other way to engage in their spiritual life by writing a romance novel is a good thing. So I think I believe in it more than ever and want to have it more as an offering and less as an assignment to friends. But now we have it as an offering. We have over 100 people writing along, and they're on our Google form posting what they're writing, and we're hearing from people who are following our assignments. At the end of every episode, we give a writing assignment, and people are doing it. And so now I don't need to make my friends do it.
Right. Yeah.
It will be better.
I'm sure they appreciate it in the long run. So you're basically assigning your friend, or inspiring.
No, assigning, forcing.
No, I don't want it to have a negative connotation. But you're like asking your friends to do something that you have done, writing a romance novel. We see that they, have these profound journeys. How much does that relate to you? And do you want to talk about your specific journey and some of the things that you went through when writing your romance novel?
Yeah. So, I've finished one and we'll do an episode on it, but as soon as I finished it, I was like, now I want to write another one.
Nice.
But the thing so I am the grandchild of Holocaust survivors in a relationship with a German man who's the grandchild of an SS officer. And so, which, God, if somebody would have told me 20 years ago. And it's actually, it is one of the most rewarding parts of our dynamic, because I actually think I'm an atypical American Jew in that I'm actually the child, like first generation American. And so most of the Jews I know don't have as personal of a connection to like refugee status or the Holocaust. And my partner actually does, right? Like he takes the Holocaust as seriously as I do. And which is a lovely part of our dynamic. It's actually very freeing. So in my romance novel, I get to fall in love with a Jewish guy, like the heroine, who isn't me, but obviously is some psychic part of me. Gets to fall in love with like the perfect Jewish guy, and I think that was like a really lovely thing to explore and then to grieve, right? Like I'm not like my partner. We have 2 kids. Like I'm in this, and I love him, and he is just a wonderful, wonderful partner. But that doesn't mean that I'm not sad about the fact that I didn't get to like be with somebody who understood my heritage more, or right, we're not having a Jewish wedding. There's no hora, and there was for my brother and sister-in-law, and so it was like rewarding to grieve that through a romance novel and to acknowledge that is sad, but that doesn't mean that I regret the choices that I've made. And so I think, yeah, creative writing can just be a way to actually explore these other things and sort of lay them to rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so great. So you talk about tropes in your podcast a lot, and you have your friends gravitate towards a trope. I know you have your like favorite tropes, but can you speak to it a little more of like what's the trope that's just like, yep, I'm getting it. That's the book I'm getting. Like this is what I need right now.
So friends to lovers is by far my favorite trope. Friends to lovers and reunited lovers. And it's probably both for the same reason, which is that there is like an intimacy between the two that I love the like nitty gritty, flirty dialogue between 2 people who really know each other well. But what is amazing to me also about the tropes is that there are tropes that I'm like, there is no way I'm going to like this. Like, I hate Love at First Sight. And then Everything in the Moon by Julia Quinn is one of my favorite romance novels, and it is a Love at First Sight trope. And then I hate fake relationship to true love. I'm like, that just like doesn't happen in real life. But then Act Like It by Lucy Parker is so good.
It's so good.
And it like is totally believable every step of the way. You're like, oh, this makes total sense why they would be assigned to be in a fake relationship and why they would fall for each other. And so I think that the tropes that we're called to are interesting, but also I've just been shown up again and again. I always was like, ugh, I'm never going to read a governess book because the power dynamic is so gross. One of my friends was like, isn't Jane Eyre your favorite book of all time, a governess book? And I was like, oh yes. So like we can not like the optics or the politics of a trope, but then the story and its specificity can be so good that you're like, never mind, this trope's great.
It's so nice to hear you say that, because I think before I used to judge romance novels and judge tropes and then read them privately and never tell anyone. It was my deep, dark secret. And so to hear you kind of have like a similar trajectory where you are questioning what you like based on, what men, these taste-making men have, deemed. And it's very refreshing to hear.
Well, and it's also exciting because it does seem like the world is validating what you and I see in romance novels, right? Like, Shonda Rhimes is now a tastemaker, and so she bought up the Bridgertons and is putting it on her new platform of Netflix, right? And like, every romance novel I read, I'm like, this would be such a good BBC miniseries. This would be such a good movie. And so, Mindy Kaling is doing this now that she's a tastemaker and is allowed to put whatever she wants on Hulu. And so, like, as women are gaining control in the world, I do think, like Rachel Bloom, again, like did it with Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I just think that we are going to be seeing it's going to get better and better, and content is going to get better and better. Thank God for Outlander. I had a Google alert on Outlander, the movie, for like 10 years before I got turned into a TV show, and would get these email updates, right? Like, so I think that, I am really hoping that we're prying away the tastemaker status from men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God, it was such a big deal a few years ago, or I guess more than a few years ago now, like 10, 15 years ago. When, right, like, Mamma Mia beat James Bond at the box office. And I feel like there have been these, like, moments, and we just have to be grabbing them and shaking everybody by the collar and being like, look, what women want freaking matters. And, like, and then I also just firmly believe that, like, Leanne Moriarty is as good of a writer, if not better, than Jonathan Franzen. And if we gave her different covers, the world would know that.
Right.
Reese Witherspoon already knows that, but, like, the literati would know it, too.
Yeah. Here's a question I have. So you mentioned Julia Quinn a lot. What type of, like, genres do you like in terms of, like, contemporary versus historical? Like, which would you prefer?
So I read like 70% Regency.
Okay.
And I think it's just because I'm moving away from it. Mm-hmm. I do think it's just because I was an English major and ended up focusing on 19th century British fiction, as most English majors do, because I was taught by men who got tenure in the 80s, right? Like this is just my inheritance, and I'm trying to break out of it. And I do think that Regency is interesting for all of the limitations put upon it. The rules are really interesting to me, and the ways to break the rules by, like, having the woman be a widow or any number of, like, tricks are all really interesting to me. But I haven't read any paranormal romance yet other than Twilight, which I stand by as wonderful. And I'm, like, really excited to, right? Like, the idea of, like, adding immortality into the mix is, like, what? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a whole new world. I have to tell you, vampire stuff, that's not Twilight. I mean, I love Twilight too, but, like, it's just this whole other sexy world that I never knew existed.
Yeah, and so, I mean, like, really at the end of the day, I'm still a novice to this world. So I've been reading a book a week for the last 3 years, but that's only 150 romance novels, you know?
It's nothing.
It's nothing. It's really nothing. And 27 of them were Julia Quinn. So, so yeah, I do mostly read Regency. I'm really excited about some of the contemporary stuff that is coming out that sadly is not in the $5 and under bracket. So I do really like the contemporary, like Helen Huang, Jasmine Guillory, Lucy Parker. Like, I'm excited for these, like, more diverse covers, like from, I want Fabio types to always be on the cover. And then I also really like these new, more literary covers. I think we need it all.
Yeah.
So I stay up on the stuff that's coming out now.
Yes.
I love Red, White, and Royal Blue. But yeah, my go-to, if I'm just, like, going through the library app, I just, like, go for the big dresses.
Yeah, totally. See, I go through the books that are not $5 in the library apps.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, I know I need to keep up on this, but I need to maintain my, like, I need to commit to the thesis of this podcast, which is very hard sometimes.
Well, especially now, right? Because, like, the Jasmine Guillory's are, like, $15.
Yeah.
It's, like, not romance priced at all.
Yeah. So I'm always, like, a year behind. Like, I just read Kiss Quotient, and I'm like, oh my God, I love this so much. I got it from the library. It was finally available from the library.
Right.
And, like,
right. You have to wait forever.
I know. And it's, like, good. I'm glad. Like, I'm so glad everyone is, like, loving these books. But yes, it's like, it's hard to, you know, keep up with, like, the newest books when, you know, I try to live a life of having a budget. So
yes, no, me, I had just put a hold on something today, and it was like estimated time for arrival, 22 weeks.
Oh my God.
I will love reading this in 6 months.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so frustrating. Yeah. Cause I use like the apps too.
Yeah.
So, but you do have recommendations of books that are under $5. You mentioned Julia Quinn, but
I got so excited by the challenge of, I was like, oh my God, I guarantee I can find books that I love that are available for under $5. And right now, The Duke and I, the first in the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn, is available for under $5. Have you read it?
I have not. No, I'll read it.
So good. Also, Fake Relationship to True Love.
Okay. And it works. Nice.
It does work. And I have had the honor of becoming friends with Julia Quinn over the last couple of years. And also really interesting because it's a 20-year-old book. And there is a complicated / problematic sex scene in it that Julie now wishes she could go back and rewrite, you know? And it's still great. And it's women-empowered problematic sex, so it's not rapey. But anyway, it's great. And Simon is so sexy, and he's got a stutter, and it's just great. The other ones I highly recommend are The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare.
Yes, I read that. Yeah, so good.
The opening of that novel is like as funny as anything Shakespeare ever wrote.
Yeah.
This woman comes in a hideous wedding dress, demanding to speak to this duke, and is like, you owe me money for this dress because you didn't marry the woman who was supposed to wear it, and she refuses to pay me. And so they meet with her in the gown, and so you're like, these two people are going to fall in love. And Tessa Dare just writes the best friends. Like the woman has this friend circle where one of them is like the clockwinder for the city of London, and the other is this like head of the vegetarian movement in 19th century England. It's fantastic.
Yes.
And then the last one is one of my all-time favorites also. I'm just listing my favorites. Devil in Winter by Lisa Kleypas.
Oh, yeah.
Have you read this one?
I haven't read it, but yes, I know of it.
So I'm going to spoil one thing at the end, which is that he loves her so much he changes the law for her. And when I read that, I turned to my partner and I was like, you will never love me enough. Because you will never go to the House of Parliament and change a law just to make me happy.
I love a good law change.
Just like, what is sexier than that?
I know. And it's honestly what is sexy right now. It is a sexy thing to do right now.
Yeah. And like, Peter's great and he like advocates for things, but he's not in the Senate.
I know.
Whereas this Duke is in the House of Lords, so he literally goes and changes the law so women can own their wealth. So she'll marry him.
I mean, yeah.
It's too good.
Oh, yeah. Has your partner ever read a romance novel before?
What a great question. Yes, he has. His mother was a big romance reader. And so she was a big Georgette Heyer fan. And so he has read some Georgette Heyer as a way to like try to understand his mother and I. He is not a romance person. He is a mystery person through and through. He reads a lot of feminist mystery. So Nio Marsh and several other women. But like, I'm not a mystery person. So he's always rereading Sherlock Holmes to Nio Marsh. Whenever he's just on the Kindle and like gone, that's what he's doing.
Yeah. So
it's interesting though, right? That like they're both similar genres in a lot of ways. And this is interesting within feminism also, right? Because a lot of women are really interested in true crime. True crime is a demographic almost entirely populated by women. And I think that it's the same drive that gets us to read romance. It's wanting to confront the grisliest aspects of life rather than escape them. But I think there are two sides of the same coin.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's why I mean, romantic suspense is kind of my genre that I go to. And it is because of that. There is like something, you're right, like so grisly about it, but like finding love amidst the, just like the most like like horrible of human experiences or through solving a mystery. It is just so satisfying. It's like true crime, but it's fictional plus love. And I'm just like, I'm there for it.
Okay, I need you to send me like 3 or 4 recommendations.
Absolutely. I mean, Toni Anderson, all of her books are under $5. And I mean, I love her so much. And if she's listening, I love you. Like there's Nora Roberts, and I think a lot of people gravitate towards her suspense ones. But I'm like, if you love romance, Toni Anderson is just
Toni Anderson.
Yeah, her
great. Done and done.
Yes, the Cold Justice series, that has gotten me through some tough times, and I loved it so much.
And so pardon my naivete, but they are romance novels. They have a happily ever after.
Oh my God, yeah, they are romance. Okay. Yeah. It's basically, and I'm really undermining it right now, but it's basically the trope of the bodyguard, even though there are female assassins who are protecting the men and all that stuff, but it is just like love amidst danger, and it's just like, oh God, I love it so much.
Okay, you're gonna have created a new obsession for me.
Oh my God.
I have to finish the Courtney Milan I'm currently listening to.
Yeah.
And the Tessa Dare that I'm currently reading.
Listen, no rush. I get it. People are always like recommending me things, and I'm like, listen, I have such a backlog. Like, I will get to it, I promise.
Yeah. But no, I'm so excited.
Oh, cool. Do people ask you the question that I'm about to ask, which is, what do you think Harry Potter and romance novels have in common?
Nobody has ever asked me that.
Oh.
So I've never thought about it.
Okay.
The obvious answer to me is that they both have very dedicated fandoms, which is a little bit dodging the question, but they have fandoms that are so strong that people will organize to gather in shitty convention centers to just like meet each other to talk about this thing. And they both have huge fandoms made up of people who are often mocked for their love of the thing. And so, again, while it's completely okay for like 30,000 people to gather in matching shirts and face paint to cheer for a team, to cheer for the Patriots, like, you are derided for wanting to wear a Regency gown and like go to a romance, whatever. And I'm like, I really defy anybody to explain to me the actual qualitative difference between those two things. Except that one is male-based and one is female-based. And so I think that those are the two things that they have in common. The other thing that I think that they have in common is this feeling of returning to a safe space. Even though the Harry Potter books and a lot of romance, a lot of danger and high suspense and high drama, your brain goes into this like dopamine safe place of like, and you hear people say it all the time of like, Hogwarts is home. Like, whenever I'm with Dumbledore, I just feel safe. There's just this sense of like being wrapped in a cocoon when you are reading a Harry Potter book. And I think that it's very similar with romance novels. You're like, at the end of the day, everything is going to turn out fine. And at the end of the day with the Harry Potter books, like, you're going to get to spend time with Hermione. So everything will be fine. The true hero of the Harry Potter books.
Oh, my God. She's so great.
She's so great.
There was something you mentioned earlier about in one of your favorite romance novels, there is a sex scene where consent seems questionable. And I run into that myself. And it also... It sometimes gives me pause, especially when I have someone on my show who hasn't read a romance before and they are reading it, and there is like, very like the consent doesn't seem 100% there, even though it is. And then having to like explain this to a novice reader, and I'm just like so curious, your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think that again, women are it's just such a double bind because art is supposed to be representational, it doesn't have to always be aspirational for the world that we want to be in. It can be representing the world that we actually live in, or it can be representing things that we find hot, even if we don't want them in our real lives.
Yeah.
Like, there seems to be this belief that women aren't capable of separating out a fantasy life from real life. It's like, oh, if she reads too many romance novels, is she going to expect a Scottish king? It's like, no, she super won't. She has an IQ of above 12.
Yeah.
Like, she'll be fine. Right? And so I think, the sex in 50 Shades of Grey is too problematic for me to find hot. When Christian says to Anna, you may not want this, but your body does, shaming a woman for being wet, but like not giving mental or verbal consent is manipulative to a point that I don't find it sexy. Now, in a trusting relationship, if two people do find that hot, like, I think great. And if that turns you on, great. That like super doesn't do it for me. And I think does actually teach women something bad, which is, if I don't want it, but my body is sexually responding to it, that must mean on some level I do want it. And I think that is actually a dangerous thing to teach women. But for the most part, sex is problematic and complicated. And so I actually think romance novels help us figure out what it is that we like and what we don't like in these really safe, low stakes ways. And so, like, thank God for romance novels where I can, like, learn how things make me feel without having to endanger myself in any way.
Right. Yeah. Totally. So, like, we use romance to, like, learn about sex and to learn about what we like. Is there a particular, like, basically, I wish I had read romance novels when I was much younger. And,
me too.
Learning about sex and learning about, you know, the importance of female pleasure in sex. Is there a good age you think that, like, a woman should start reading these romance novels, like, whether it's in your teens or later? Like, what do you think about that in terms of, like, educating a woman about the pleasures of sex?
What a great question. So I wouldn't attach it to an age just because I think, right, like, people mature at different times.
Right.
But I think, like, before you feel ready to have sex, so I think that there should be an order for things. I think you should feel comfortable talking about sex with the person you're going to have sex with before you have sex with them. So if you don't feel comfortable saying the words clitoris or penis to the person, you shouldn't have sex with them. Let me say that first. And then I think that, you know, as far as, like, young first times, like, I think you should feel comfortable saying those things to your partner. And then I think read a couple of romance novels before you have sex for the first time and, like, learn about your own pleasure and what excites you. But I know a lot of women who weren't really interested in having a sexual relationship until their mid-20s or, right, like, or older even. And then obviously there are a lot of young women who are, like, really horny at 12 and, like, and I am not saying that 12-year-olds should be off having sex. I have an 11-year-old. By God, no. But I just don't want to shame any sexual interest. So I also think romance novels, if you are a horny 12-year-old, that's, like, a great way to, like, safely explore your sexuality without getting yourself into a dangerous situation before you are equipped with the tools to handle it. So I wouldn't give an age, but I would be like, before you start having sex, I do think you should read several romance novels.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely something I wish I did. So I have one kind of random question for you. You mentioned that, like, all the way in the beginning, you mentioned the idea of being an atheist Jewish person. I was raised Jewish, and I'm 99% sure I'm an atheist. And this is solely a selfish question because it's just something that's confused me about this as part of my identity is, like, what is an atheist Jew? Like, what is that?
Yeah. So Judaism is a really interesting religion to be an atheist within, because Judaism is a religion of laws rather than a religion of beliefs. Several of the laws include believing in God. So I obviously don't obey all of the Jewish laws. and I'm not answering the question broadly. I'm just answering the question for me.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I see each Jewish law as an invitation, and you know this, right? Like there are 600 and whatever mitzvot. And so there are all these different ways to engage with Judaism. And I engage with mine by like following the laws that really speak to me and make me feel like a more devoted person. So I always feed my dog before I feed myself, because you're supposed to feed your animal before you feed yourself. I am a vegetarian because I think that is the most like authentic modern representation of kashrut.
Mm-hmm.
I think like I do not do any work on the Sabbath. I do not keep Shabbat in a traditional way. I still turn on lights, but like I don't check my email. I take a social media Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
And I disengage from anything that sort of stresses me out and takes me out of time with my family.
Mm-hmm.
And we cook Friday night dinner, right? So like I am in relationship with my Judaism, and my Judaism is like an orientation that I have toward the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need a relationship with God for that. So I would say it's a culture, it's a set of principles. It's also an ethnicity and a race.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I were to have a baby with another Ashkenazi Jew, we would have a higher rate of Tay-Sachs risk.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's an actual genetic component to being a Jew. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, Hitler would think I was a Jew, so I'm a Jew. You know.
Good point. Now I
that
now
old
I get
measuring
it.
stick.
Would Hitler like me?
Yeah. Nope. Okay.
No, yeah, good point. Okay, I just needed to just change the subject real quick, because it was just something that has been I have been questioning in my personal life. But back to the world of romance, and one final question, because this has just been so wonderful. And I know you touched on it, but someone who wants to write a romance novel for the first time, like, do you have any like final parting words for them before they just open that laptop and start writing?
Write the parts that are fun to write. Mm-hmm. So if you want to write the first sex scene, write that. If you then want to write the meet cute, write that. If you want to write the witty banter, write that. Like, you are doing this for the joy. And then if you enjoy it, like, keep going and fill it out. And then there comes the like rigorous work. Mm-hmm. But you should initially be doing it for a sense of joy. Mm-hmm. And so only write the parts that excite you to write. I want to write the sexiest flirtation meet cute in a coffee shop between a barista and a woman leaving her Weight Watchers meeting ever. Uh-huh. So I'm gonna write it. Like, whatever it is, just write the fun part, and write all the fun parts, and then see if you want to tie them together. But like, writing is hard, so start with the easy, joyful part.
Oh, yeah, that is the best advice. My goodness, I wish I knew that sooner in my life.
Me too. But like, we just write the sexy fun part.
Yeah.
You're not doing this to make a living at it. Mm-hmm. Other people are. And then if you're like, ooh, I think I could make a living at it, do it. Mm-hmm. And then you have to do the drudgery. But like, if you're doing it as a spiritual practice, as a way to take care of yourself, as a way to find joy, as a way to explore sexuality, as a way to decompress, like, just do the fun parts.
Yeah. Well, on that note, this was a fun part of my day. Do you like that?
Too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. This was just so delightful.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Be sure to check out Hot and Bothered and Harry Potter and the Sacred Text wherever you get your podcasts. Guys, thank you so much for listening, and thank you for getting hot as hell with TSTL.